Hey guys, Simply Betta here. Today I'm going to be talking about my Betta api, which are a beautiful little species, very, very uncommon. And I'll be separating them out from their grow out tank. Api are a really beautiful, colorful, tiny little species who are also super, super threatened. You might be thinking that this fish looks nothing like the bettas that you're used to, and you might be right. Keep in mind, there are a lot of different species of betta fish. The betta fish family is a big family. There are a lot of different species, most of which I have no experience with. I mostly have experience with species in the splendens complex, which include the domestic betta fish and some wild varieties, which are basically the basis of our domestic fish, like Betta splendens, Betta mahachai, Betta embellis, smaragdina. Those are the more familiar fish. I also have experience with the alba marginata complex because of my Betta chinoides, who I've had for a few years at this point, I believe. And also the unimaculata group, which include my Betta macrostoma. These tiny little beauties belong to the Betta coccina group. Fish in the Betta coccina complex are smaller than the fish that we're used to, but they have many of the same characteristics. They're bubble nesters, which means that the male makes this little tiny nest of bubbles at the surface of the water and then puts the eggs in there after spawning. They're territorial, which means that the males will fight with each other and spar. They're a soft water species, which means that they thrive in environments where the water doesn't have a lot of dissolved minerals. It's very soft. They need a low pH. I keep mine right around 6, but I've heard of their natural habitat going all the way down to maybe like a 4 pH. I make my own remineralized water for them, and I also use a buffering substrate to keep my water at right around 6, and they do pretty well. My buffering substrate that I use is called Florin vulcanate, and it's from Brightwell Aquatics, who's my sponsor. Thank goodness they're my sponsor because I use a lot of their products. This substrate and my remineralized water keep my pH right around 6, which is pretty much perfect. They come from a black water habitat, which means that they really thrive in water that is dark with tannins. I like to think that they appreciate their tannins. So I usually add in botanicals like Indian almond leaves, Indian almond bark, wood that releases tannins as it decomposes. I use black water extracts during water changes most of the time. This tank's currently clear, when before I would keep it pretty tan. I left all that algae in there on purpose. I didn't want too much fighting like as they matured. There's a pretty big group in here for only being a 10-gallon tank. But between all the plants and the floaters and just everything, they get along pretty decently, and I don't really see fighting. So there's plenty of hiding places in there. I also keep the light pretty low. I have a bunch of frog bit on top, mostly to block some light. I think they're more comfortable when it's not super bright. These guys are carnivores, so I like to feed them grindle worms and white worms as the basis of their diet. They go nuts over those. They love them. Also, baby brine shrimp are really great. For juveniles, for hatchlings, for little babies, I like to use vinegar eels and infusoria to feed them like at first, and then micro worms, and then I move up to baby brine shrimp, and then slowly bigger items like grindle worms. Daphnia would probably also be a great choice, but I can't do Daphnia. I kill all my Daphnia cultures that I ever try, so I've given up. I know it's unlike me to give up, but I did. I just learned my lesson. I'm not a Daphnia raiser. Thank goodness for grindle worms and white worms. Now that I've talked for a bit about how cute they are, let's talk about how incredibly threatened they are in the wild. They and many other species in their complex and other complexes of the betta species are very, very threatened right now. Many wild betta species are facing extinction due to habitat loss. And these amazing little adorable things only come from one place, one fairly small like swamp. It's just one locale. So their habitat range is tiny, and that habitat is being whittled away because of commercial and residential developments. This is a species that isn't officially described to science, so there's no official conservation actions being taken to protect them. So what is a powerless fish lover like myself supposed to do in that situation? Well, I really like them. I like the coccina complex. They're very cute, they're very colorful, they're tiny and vicious and beautiful. And I have this species. I have lots of api in this tank. I think I should do what I do best to breed them to the best of my ability and to distribute them like as far and wide as I can to other people who are interested in doing the same thing. Because establishing captive bred populations of dangerously threatened species could help save that species from extinction. I like that idea. So let's get started. I'm gonna take out these api-api out of this tank because I need to know how many I have. I need to know how many males and females that I have, how many pairs that I have, and I need to set up these pairs to move on to the next generation. The fish that are in here are actually the offspring of 2 separate pairs that I spawned and I just put in here to raise. I'm gonna remove a bunch of my frog bit. Frog bit is awesome. I really like frog bit as a floating plant. I'm gonna put it in like a little temporary holding tank right here where I'm gonna be putting the api-api as I capture them. They are really fantastic jumpers, by the way, so you really have to pay attention if you have your lid off briefly for a moment. I bet I can begin now to find my impossible little fish. Oh, there's one who trusted me just a little too much. Betta api-api capture number 1, going into the holding tank. I'm gonna try to flush them out from behind. I'm just gonna have to remove a bunch of algae. This is gonna take forever. They're such good hiders. I'll take this nice piece of wood out. It has some anubias on it, a lot of algae, some water sprite. Set that aside on my pothos plant. Goodness. Wow. I've caught one fish, and now I can't find any. Oh, there's one. Woohoo! 10 minutes later, Taylor's caught 2 api-api. 3 api-api, 4 api-api, 5 api-api, 7 api-api. I've caught 10 api-api out of this tank. I'm gonna wait for a little bit while the water settles down so I can like see in there again, because I know there's more. Lid's back on. Remember, you cannot trust them. In fact, on this one, I'm gonna put my little foxy dish towel over it. Because even with half an inch of water down there, I just don't trust them. Oh, I caught 4! I just caught 4 api-api in my hand in a corner. 16. One more. Big male, that's 17. There's 18. There's 19. Come on, one more. Let's make it an even 20. Just 19. I'm just gonna stare at it for a bit. I'll let the water settle again and then search again. In this little tub here, this is where one of my original females is in. Again, the same buffered substrate, some plants. This was one of my original spawning tubs, but then I lost my male. So I put my females in here. I'm pretty sure I have 1 female left. I just have to find her. There we go. So for sure, I have 1 original female left. I want to keep her separate from the spawn. All right, just 1 female in here. I will put her back in, keep her in there. This is a low-tech, just no filter, little setup. I am incredibly certain I got every little fish in here. I'm gonna go ahead and do my mulm cleaning method that I showed in my last video using a little canister filter. I'm a firm believer that there's really nothing wrong with mulm, which is all the brown detritus that I stirred up. Decayed organic matter in a healthy tank there's nothing wrong with it. It's just unsightly. So I'll clean it. I've decided I'm gonna cup them. Why? It's because I'm moving this tank and I'm gonna be using it for a different purpose, for a different species I have coming in. These api-api, which they're not in the cups yet, but you'll notice in the cups I have a little bit of the buffering substrate, a little bit of water. I have to go make some more water, and I'm gonna be placing 1 in each of these just to be able to count, to see, to determine male or female, because I'm not good at it with Betta cochina, Betta api-api. Like, I think I can tell, but I'm not 100% sure just by looking at fish skittering around in a tank. I need to be able to like look at them. And to really decide what to do and how to pair them and to fatten them up a little bit, I'm gonna be moving them to somewhere special, somewhere kind of cool I've never shared. So I'll fish the fish out of their little holding tank over here, and I'm gonna put one in each cup. Now that I can actually see them, I'm gonna try to figure out which ones are males. I can tell which ones are obviously males, but they are a little stressed out. They've lost some color. So on some of them, I'm not so sure. Like, are you a female? Are you a stressed out male? I don't know. I've been just quietly sitting here watching the fish, and I'm gonna put a blue piece of tape on whatever ones I am sure are males. You know, maybe I just need to let them relax a little bit before I do that. I'm gonna move them to a spot to relax for a while. I moved the Api Api over to this rack so I can stare at them for a little while and really determine males from females so I can get an accurate number. You know, besides skittering around from moving the cups, they don't really seem that disturbed. I'm like seeing them posturing at each other already, which is great. So tonight I'm going to make fresh water for these guys. I make my own water that's very soft and give them a little water change, fill up the rest of their cups, put a little piece of Indian almond leaf in there, get them all cozy, comfy. So tomorrow, maybe I'll be able to come in and actually see males from females. And I'm gonna card them. When I got my first two Api Api pairs, I couldn't really tell male from female very well. So I jarred them, got them comfy cozy, carded them, and then when I'd remove the cards, I could see the differences in behavior from the male and the female. I could clearly see when I carded them. Maybe this is completely unnecessary. Maybe Taylor is just a complete noob when it comes to the cochina complex. I admit it. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. I think this is a good idea. Not too shabby. That works. Indian almond leaves, great for tannins, great for making fish feel comfortable in darker water. I'm just gonna cut some little strips with my scissors and give each fish a little strip. So what do you think about Betta Api Api? Are they adorable? Are they super cute? Are they amazing? Would you be interested in having Api Api and trying to breed them and just distribute them everywhere? Because that really interests me. This tiny little species is on the brink of extinction, and I don't want them to disappear. Just a quick reminder, guys, I sell Indian almond leaves, I sell like little microworm, grindleworm, vinegar eel starter cultures for babies, and floating plants like frogbit. So if you're looking for any of those things, stop by my website, simplybetta.com. Sometimes I have fish there, but probably not for a while, not over this winter, because I'm starting to breed again. It's been a long time. Check back next time when I do an update. I'll be able to tell you how many males and females that I ended up having. And this cool thing I made like forever ago during lockdown that I just never shared, because that's what I do. I do really cool things and I make things and I'm creative and I just don't share them. I don't know why, but it's time to actually put this thing to use with the Betta Api Api. You'll see. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.